Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and a brand new video on Marvel Contest of Champions. This video follows on the same scheme as my other videos in the newly created Ultimate Guide series. It's a new series for creating Ultimate Guides, and we're going to do some ones for players that are just new to the games, some people that are midway through the game, and the experienced players as well. So this video in particular is all about the tier 4 class catalysts. From fragments to fully formed catalysts themselves, we're going to look at several different factors. For example, the recurring, the one-offs, and the other things to consider when it comes to getting something that is going to rank up your champions higher on your 5 stars, and also more commonly known on your 4 stars when you get in that rank 5. So let's get into the video. So let's kick things off with one-offs. One-offs are the things that only occur once, and that means that you can't go back to get them. It's pretty self-explanatory. So for example, in Act 4 of Story Mode, and Story Mode is where we're going to start, you can see that you get 3 tier 4 class catalysts. There's none for completion of Chapter 4 itself, except you could say that the Ascendant Crystal is another way of getting some decent stuff. So yeah, there's a chance with that, but it's not a dead cert. These one-offs that I think we're referring to, especially with Act 5, at the moment, as we know, we're in Chapter 1, and in Chapter 1 you do get 1 fully formed tier 4 class catalyst. I'm sure as we progress on with the act itself, we will see some fantastic rewards that are going to mean that we're going to jump for joy in order to use them and apply them to our 5 stars and 4 stars. Another section of one-offs come in shape or form of the Labyrinth series. So we've got Road to Labyrinth and Labyrinth Legends. Starting off with Road to Labyrinth, you get 1 fully formed tier 4 class catalyst crystal. There's no fragments there, and we'll get onto fragment crystals in a moment, and you get nothing for the Chapter 4. So it is just the 1 tier 4 class catalyst crystal. When it comes to Labyrinth Legends, there is more on show. You get a real substantial amount of decent rewards. Obviously, as we can see here, we've got completion rewards of, well, it's 2 of each, going right the way down. And on full completion, then look, there's a lot on offer to get your champions well up. Obviously, a lot of people will ask how, in order to do Labyrinth Legends, how do you do it? Well, it's a little bit more complicated. It will involve an extensive amount of grinding for units, and also patience, willing, a Star-Lord along the way for that high damage, and a lot of perseverance. Now let's get over to event quests, because these are where we talk about reoccurring. Reoccurring is things like with the Master in particular, which is a good source. You get these lovely tier 4 class catalyst fragment crystals. Man, they should really shorten those names just to make them a little less on the tongue to pronounce. So on the final bit here, we got completion of you get 6. With regards to the tier 4 class catalyst fragment crystals, you'll see them kind of coming into game. People are kind of really getting them a lot, and even though they don't apply a significant amount of the fragments, it's still a good healthy amount to kind of like add now and again. And you'll see that on certain points of chapter completion, you're getting ones there and ones there, so it does add up and can be a good aspect of getting a chunk of a tier 4 class catalyst. Unfortunately, it is at random. There's a lot of things we're going to see. It is at random. There's no way of getting it specifically unless you buy it, which I don't like you to do half the time. Just grind it for free. But speaking of buying things, and I will cover it just briefly, at certain points you'll find that through the week you'll see you can get specific tier 4 class catalyst fragments. As you can see here, currently at the moment recording this video, it is a mutant, and you only get 1,000 shards. There are times when this is 5,000 shards, and if I was to ever recommend buying because you wanted to say get a fully formed of a specific tier 4 class that you want, then it may be a time you may go, right, I'll buy just this once. That is the only time I probably recommend anything purchasing wise. Kabam do run at times some deals which not really recommended to buy. I can think of better things to buy. but not for how much they really kind of price a tier 4 class catalyst at the point of purchase with physical money as opposed to units. Different would be if you had a load of units and you could purchase it, then it may be justified, but for the point of buying it with physical money, no. One recurring event, which isn't on at the moment, but they have run in the past, is tier 4 class daily quests, which basically mean you enter it. The same thing with regards to expert proving grounds. There's class specific stuff running, so it could be a skill and a mutant per se, and you're able to get tier 4 fragments. It's a game of luck, unfortunately. Sometimes you won't get as much as you thought you'd get, and it may be a better way than, say, purchasing the daily kind of deal with units in the unit store. I'd say that when it comes on, it may be best to then get into it and kind of grind out through just to kind of get as much as possible. But also take it at your own risk, as sometimes the results aren't always as amazing as you'd hope. Sometimes I've seen people pull full tier 4 class catalysts, you know, ridiculously, and a ridiculous amount of fragments. And I've seen other people just get, well, nothing of great importance that is going to get them to that tier 4 class catalyst. So one element that I find, you know, quite good for getting lots of is the tier 3 class catalyst. I seem to get these nearly every day, loads of them. And in particular, the idea about getting 180 tier 4 class catalyst fragments is very important. It does mean that I can sell 180, and I seem to get these like so much. I don't recommend this at a younger or kind of lower level of the game. The reason being that you may find you're not getting quite as many as say higher end players, and higher end players will know that you're getting so many tier 3 class catalyst fragment crystals. Again, they need to shorten these names, but you can sell a lot of those. So, you know, you pop those crystals, you then sell the tier 3 class catalysts, and boom, there you go, you got loads. Like, my stash is always full of them, and I'm finding that I'm probably selling about 10 a week, which is, you know, is 1,800 fragments in the tier 4. So it does mean that camp of tier 4s is increasing, you know, quite a lot. And obviously the more I sell in one specific way, the more I get. But like I said, this is for higher end players, for selling stuff that they don't really need quite as much as. But if, you know, smaller players, you may find that you'll want to rank up a lot more champions, so you'll find use for these a lot more than selling them. It just depends on what your motivation is. If you find that you need about a few more or a small amount of tier 4 class catalyst fragments, then by all means sell, but don't look to it as a kind of a source of income of tier 4 class catalyst fragments. Damn, Kabam really need to shorten names. Let's move on to crystals, and we'll go into a bit more with regards to alliance stuff and how the tier 4 class catalyst can be obtained through that in a moment. But first, the Glory Crystal. The Glory Crystal, the standard one, is 3,600 tier 4 class catalyst fragments. You move on to the Greater Glory Crystal, and it's 7,200. These can be very handy, and obviously everything is at random. With then, as we discussed earlier, tier 3 class catalyst fragment crystals. I seem to get these so many times, so what I do is I do kind of pop them open, get a fully formed one, sell the fully formed one, if I don't need it, that is. Then we've got the tier 4 class catalyst fragment crystal. Usually for the tier 4 class catalyst fragment crystal, you don't really get very much, so as you can see here, we've got 720 from that one. The other crystals that can be quite helpful is the map crystals for alliances. The other thing is the ascendant crystal. That again can be incredibly helpful, but also it can be a little bit trollish depending on how the luck of the Irish is going for you. So as you can see, I've got some map 5 and map 6 to use, and I'll use them and kind of spin them out for a video. Obviously the bane of doing YouTube is the reason that I do save them. But at the same time, they can be an asset. You can at times get one fully formed, like this is the only one apart from the Ascendant and the tier 4 class catalyst crystal that I know of, you getting one fully formed tier 4 class catalyst. So it is a game of chance and luck, and sometimes luck needs to be with you. Now there is the option of going for the Catalyst class, which is to get a fully formed tier 4 class Catalyst crystal. Chances of getting that are very slim to nil. You've got to put some major millions in with regards to getting points for it, and it doesn't last particularly long. So I would probably say it's best to avoid that unless you're on some mega level, rated player in the game. I do strongly suggest that Kabam do the same thing with regards to the tier 4 basic, and that they add in on about 2 million the tier 4 class catalyst, maybe 1, and then increase maybe the ranking rewards. The Ascendant Crystal, as we've discussed, is still an option, but again, game of luck. I could do this once and more than likely I would get something that I go, hey, that wasn't really worth it. My usual luck with these things is ISO 8. I usually just get ISO 8. But I may be tempted to do a video and kind of maybe discuss with regards to how lucky they are with maybe buying 3. Usual price I think about for these are about 150 units. If there's a time that Kabam put them in, I have known once that they put them in. Sometimes they opt for putting them in a crystal bundle or sample bundle. So maybe look out for them, and maybe we'll do a review of them in the future. Alliance questing now. This seems to be the best way to get the tier 4 class catalysts, and sometimes they're most of the time they're fragments. Obviously, if you kind of charting in about the 300 area, you're going to get 1 fully formed tier 4 class catalyst. I'm immensely proud of my alliance and what they've managed to achieve. We've gone from a alliance that has only achieved a very small amount with regards to millions being put in to now an alliance that have just done 100 million. And it's not a case of like, hey, am I gutted about that? Should I have kind of tried to jump ship to another alliance in order to kind of do that? No, because the aspect of gaming which I believe in quite strongly is camaraderie. If you're not working together to achieve a goal, then your own means is different to those that you're working with. And if you can't change people to try and get them around an ideal, then you, my friend, are trying to be a leader. And a good leader inspires people around him to achieve said goal. And I've got a fantastic leader, and we follow him, and we work hard at it. And he works with us. So when it comes to getting the tier 4 class catalysts, we are an alliance that is working hard. So we did, I think it was last time was like 4-2 something, but now it's like 491. It's not the end of the world. It's still nice to get whatever we got. We would have got these rewards, so instead of getting 3 on the standard, we would have got 4. So there's not really much change. And glory as well. Glory is something we'll touch on in a minute. But either way, wherever you factor in, you are getting some decent rewards. There's other brackets where you'll be getting some decent stuff. But still, the glory store is your saving grace, so to speak. Because that's one thing Kabam wanted to do, is not kind of alienate everybody with regards to what you can get out of this for tier 4 class catalyst exceptions. So if you're an alliance that's lower rated and you've got some glory to spend, then you have options here. So you could either get the glory crystal. The glory crystal costs 500 glory. The greater glory crystal costs 1,500. Now this is where the argument comes in. Obviously, if you buy one standard glory crystal, it's 500. You then buy another one, it goes up to 550. So that is 1,100 glory, and for that you get 7,200. So 1,100 for the same amount as the greater glory crystal. So here's the thing: don't buy the greater glory crystal. A week, buy 2 glory crystals if you have to buy. I like to kind of like dot mine around different things, so I may buy a couple of health potions because I may be a bit worried about my performance. Likewise, when it comes to getting some extra tier 4 class catalyst fragments, I may opt to get a couple of glory crystals, and I'm definitely each week buying at least 1 tier 4 basic catalyst, because it's going to mean that I can rank up my champions faster. I don't think I'll need the alpha. I'm finding I'm getting a lot of alphas at my current level. So what are my top tips when it comes to these lovely things up here? Well, let's start off with the easiest thing, and that is alliance related stuff. Being part of an alliance that is charting some decent positioning does mean you're going to get loads of these glory crystals, great glory crystals, and also maybe you're going to get some a tier 4 class catalyst crystal. I hope that if you're a higher level you are getting that. And higher rated players won't have any problem with regards to getting that. Lower rated players need to aspire to be better than they are. In order to get them at the level you are, you're going to have to maybe look at getting the one-offs. The one-offs are those things in story mode we looked at. And it's a good starting point to kind of understand your way through the game. Getting Act 4 done and out of the way. Then maybe challenging yourself to do things like Road to Labyrinth to get that single one. And as soon as you get that, and as soon as you find yourself getting a rank 5, you may be in a position to then join stronger alliances. Do aspire to kind of work with your alliance to kind of progress onwards, but if they're not responding to inspiration to be better than they are, then you may find yourself needing to then jump ship. And I really suggest looking around and kind of finding out what alliances are charting with regards to alliance questing. As well, get a bit of experience with regards to map 5. And map 5 seems to be a good element of getting those map 5 crystals. Charting well in the milestones means that you're going to be getting loads of those crystals, fragments obviously. Remember as well to scrape the blood from a stone, if you will, from doing things like getting those tier 4 class catalyst fragment crystals. Yeah, they're not going to give you very much, but at the same time every little bit counts, and doing master will reward you with that. The same thing goes with getting loads of those tier 3 class catalyst fragment crystals. When you form, it does mean that you can then sell them. Obviously every little counts, and you really need to kind of scrape and scrape and scrape. Find them from doing solo events. Those daily solo events, 22-hour events, are usually pretty good for that. Those are largely the best places to go. Think about also one-offs. If they do one-off events, they do these kind of things like dimensional portals. Also, those dailies that sometimes come on. Every little counts. Because Kabam don't want you to get something that they kind of class as being very expensive for free. They want you to work at it. So at the same time, you have to look out for things like those dailies that come on once in a while. And stay tuned to the channel because I will let you know those events when they come on. As it goes, tier 4 class catalysts are a lot easier to obtain than back when I started the game playing it in January 2015. So this was your ultimate guide to tier 4 class catalysts in Marvel Contest of Champions. Hopefully it helped. If it did, then please consider sharing it with a few friends and supporting the channel, because that would be great. And yeah, subscribe for more Marvel Contest of Champions stuff. And I shall catch you on the flip side. Happy grinding. Bye bye.